the world is changing. You can feel it. It's happening everywhere we look. It's happening all across the world. It's happening in consciousness of humanity. It's happening everywhere. And everything is energy. Everything is energy.
No. Podular. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is episode 90. It is Friday, July 31st, and we are here for our artist series, episode number 10 in our artist series. It's been some time since we've done this, and we are back for a very unique setup that we've got here. You might notice that for the first time, and honestly, let's be real. Hopefully, the only time, I am here by myself without one half of this podcast, and the half that normally does this intro. Hopefully, I'm doing him justice right now. Our friend Nate Schuler is unfortunately gone fishing and got his ass stuck in New York City. So we persist nonetheless. Before we get into what you just heard, and the first of what we've ever done, a live performance at the beginning of a podcast, do have a little bit of housekeeping, and a little bit of an explanation of why we have marched forward without Nate today. Obviously, we have never filmed a second of this podcast without Nate, and we miss him dearly. Unfortunately, our guest today is a traveling musician, and part of the coolest thing about what he does is kind of one of the behind the scenes opportunities that we have to talk about it, and he might not have that when we continue this interview on Thursday. So he was so gracious to decide to do this part with me, and then we are going to drop this episode as you're listening on Friday morning, and we're gonna amend it on Thursday with Nate, and we'll continue a proper interview with the guest that we have today. Before we introduce that man, do have one tour announcement. Sliding one more into the Human Dream tour on my wonderful son's birthday, so I will not be here, but we're going back to Virginia for a show at the National. Super exciting. Already a jam-packed kind of year on the tour, the biggest one that we've seen since COVID, and we're always happy to see another one. So if you were in the South, man, the South is has returned to a level of getting a whole lot of love. Something that I imagine our guest is very excited about. And all right, so our guest today is that wonderful performer that you just heard was our guest today, Mr. Cornflower. Cornflower is vocalist, a live looper, and a one-man jam band. He has been a traveling musician around the world for over 18 years. We were introduced to him via our good friend of the podcast, Miss Audio Angel, and soon learned that he was not only a super talented musician, but also a huge STS9 fan and a fan of the podcast as well. Small world. So today he is here with us for that. We are so grateful. Welcome, Cornflower. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Scotty. It's an honor to be a part of Podular, and everything you guys are doing for Sound Tribe has just been so incredible. I mean, it's perfect timing for me because I came in kind of coming back into the music again, and you guys released the podcast, and I dove into that, and it's just like juiced me up and got back to my first show in 21 years. So thanks to you guys for
Oh, that is so
pumping it up.
exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
we love the idea of, kind of feeding the nerds. But the idea of bringing people back in, that is really special, man. Where that's so cool. And shout out Audio Angel. We love her here. She is such a wealth of just good vibes. She's always sending us messages, just like letting us know that she listens and loves it. And she spoke very, very highly of you on this podcast. She took that opportunity to put you on, and so obviously that level of recommendation. I mean, what were your reactions when you heard her do that?
Oh my God. I mean, when I first met her, I totally fangirled hard, and
Yeah.
it was in Athens, Georgia, the night they did the at Georgia Theater. They did the "It's the End of the World as We Know It" cover,
Yep,
and
we listened to it on the podcast. Yep.
yeah, and so we connected and just fell in love with each other. She's just an amazing woman, and yeah, I've just stayed connected all these years. She sat in with me when I debuted at the High Sierra Music Festival in 2011,
Cool.
and we did a couple songs together there. And I've just kept a string of communication, and whenever I play the Bay Area, she's always sat in with me. So it's been a beautiful, loving friendship and great relationship. We are really close.
God, that's the best. Well, shout out to her again. We are so grateful that she could eventually make our paths cross. So obviously we're gonna talk about those songs, and we're gonna kind of get a look under the hood real quick. So let's start off with that first song that you played, man. That's obviously an original from you. What's that called, and
Yes.
where does it come from?
The song "Receive" is actually one of my oldest songs. I first wrote it in 2009, and it's finally getting a release. I've been working on it in the studio, and it's definitely developed over the last 18 years, and found a really great footing, and has become a bit of an anthem that I play at shows to get people really connected into the heartbeat of the music. But yeah, it's called "Receive," and it's based on the proverb of "in giving we receive," and how so many of us kind of can go empty in giving, and how important it is to learn how to receive. That we're really good at giving, but we're really struggle at
Hmm.
receiving people's kindness and receiving people's love. And so that's what that song's about, is like learning a new way to live, learning a new way to receive. And yeah.
I love that, man. I mean, first of all, before we dive into the meaning or anything else, thank you for that because that was so cool.
Mm.
I, I found myself kind of forgetting what was happening
Right.
as I was listening, and as that Kaya bass line came in, I was like, oh yeah, I'm hosting this right
Yeah.
now. I was taken back to like COVID times when I don't know if you ever did that, if you ever did any of this
Oh, I
on
was
Zoom.
live streaming 6 days a week during
I
COVID.
see. I would imagine. I
Yeah.
would imagine that that would actually be a time where you could really kind of feed this a lot, and
Yeah.
as a musician get better if you have the patience for it. But I was taken back to that time, and that Kaya baseline kind of snapped me back into like, oh yeah, that's what I'm doing here.
I'm
Um,
hosting a podcast right now.
yeah, no, that was awesome. So I guess this is a question I'll ask about that song, but I probably a question with of everything in mind. Uh, was that written out of looping? Was that written with musician? I mean, with instruments rather, and translated to this kind of what is your writing process?
Just like any other artist, I'll have my moments where I catch lightning in a bottle. Something just comes in, it just lands, and I record it, like at least the idea or theme. And I think that was the case with "Receive." I believe it actually came through in a live performance, and I record every one of my shows, and always go back and listen back for stuff like that happens in the jams, and go, "Ooh, I really like that theme. I want to do something with that." And so I believe that's how the original idea kind of showed up. And then I was reading the that prayer, that Saint Francis of Assisi prayer of, in giving we receive, and I like sat with that for a second and realized that I'm a really good giver, but I've really struggled at receiving love and care and support, and that I wanted to write a song that helped me grow in that, and help me become a better receiver, so that I can give bigger. Because it's the full circle. It's the infinity loop. When we give, we receive. But how, if we're giving from an empty cup, is how good is that giving? Is it really filling that person or whoever you're giving to? And so I've just really wanted to challenge myself, and so that song was kind of built around that part of my growth in my life.
It's also not lost on me that this concept of giving and receiving is very loopy.
Yeah.
You know,
Infinity
like,
loop, brother. I'm
yeah, I mean, obviously, a lot of you're not unique in the sense that you record all of your live stuff, but for someone that is live looping everything on the spot, I would imagine it probably is a little more important to you as far as like from a game tape perspective goes and kind of
yes.
honing what you want to put out on a polished project. Is that
Right.
accurate?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I don't have other musicians like in my band, to
Right.
like help
It's
me
all it's
refine it.
all this brain.
That's right. So I'm very blessed. I've met in my time as a musician and just my friendships throughout the years. I've met a lot of people who have not only some of my best friends, but have become mentors and people who I trust who shoot from the hip and don't hold back, and will like insert and like elevate me in different ways with their wisdom or reflections. And so I've luckily had unofficial honorary band members in that sense, and people I've played with over the years. Whenever I sit in with someone or play on stage with someone, there's this weird telepathic thing that happens between the musicians where and I feel like this happens with anybody in the field of sound. Like
Hmm.
sound is a carrier of so much that we can't even comprehend. And I'm sure there's lots of science to back it, but sound like it carries intention and it can carry a wealth of information too and data. And I played with this guitarist who became a really dear friend of mine, Jeff Pevar, lead guitarist for Ray Charles, David Crosby, et cetera, et
Cool.
cetera. Played with
Very
Phil
cool.
Lesh. But he like I played on stage with him once, and then after that, like my next shows were just they advanced. Something about them lifted. So
Hmm.
something about my interaction with him, it's like he shared some of
Oh,
his
that makes
wisdom,
perfect sense.
you know, and I picked
Yeah.
up on that. So that happens a lot. But yeah, ultimately it comes down to me. I have to be the one that makes all the decisions and does all the work with the music, make sure it's sounding the way I want it to.
Of course. I mean, and I've heard other artists talk about it like this too. I mean, as an artist myself, I feel like, whether you want to call it an arrow in your quiver or whatever, like I feel like every time I work with somebody else, I'm like, ooh, got a little bit of that
Yeah,
now.
absolutely.
I think that collaboration is so valuable. So obviously that wasn't the only song you played, and you're on an STS9 podcast.
Yeah.
So, man, I gotta be honest. At one point, I was like, "How the fuck is he gonna do Kaya?" Like that was such a wonderful take on that song, and such a true take to the band's original version while also making it your own. Something that we talk about them doing a lot when they
Yeah,
do covers is
for sure.
making an STS9 song out of that cover. That is the most interesting thing.
Right.
And that's what you just did with Kaya. Um, that is a super musical song. It's one of the more difficult songs I would imagine for the band to pull off musically.
Hmm.
So what makes you pick that song as the song in your that you tend to do in your set? That's a pretty hard song to nail. I mean, the way you did the bass line, the way you honored Hunter's guitar riff and the hook. I mean, I was very very impressed by I don't know, just how honest you were able to stay to it.
Oh, that dude, that is means a lot to me. Especially coming from a Sound Tribe fan, a hardcore Sound Tribe fan. That was one of my favorite songs from the beginning when I first
Sure.
started listening to them. I just love the different sections and the movement, like the adventure that you go on sonically, and that is almost like this landscape, this world, and then you dive through this portal, and all of a sudden, you're going from kind of like a down tempo vibe into like breakneck drum and bass,
Yeah.
and I am a diehard drum and basser. I Before STS9 and Fish, I was a raver and went to raves all the time in the Southeast, and cut my teeth going to raves in high school. So, and so when STS9 was introduced to me, and I started falling in love with their music, that was definitely the electronica dance part of their world. I just locked in.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was already a Fish head for about 4 or 5 years, and so their funk really spoke to me, and just like where they went, just the multiple genres that they danced in and explored in the STS9 way, it was just completely blew me away. But yeah, Kaya stood out as a song that I love. I love the word Kaya. I love the song by Bob Marley, Kaya. So that name has been a name that if I ever had a kid, I would name Kaya. Just I've always loved Kaya, and so the song just really has always spoken to me, and is one of my top favorites of theirs.
So would you say Kaya was kind of your aha moment with STS9?
Uh, what was my aha? I think honestly, my aha moment was at my first show at Round Mountain, July 25th, 99. And they did the tone of the day, and started like resonating at the tone of the day according to the Dream Spell calendar, and just how they then took that and then went into the next song. Just, I felt it. I felt
So Phipps was your aha moment.
Yeah, I mean, just being there in front of them and having this, like, I'd never heard them before. I was in this beautiful place. I don't know if you know about what Round Mountain looks like, but it's like at the top of a mountain, just near Lake Toxaway in western North Carolina, and it's like 7th generation Cherokee land, and it just is this beautiful location, and they're in this beautiful amphitheater on top of this mountain, so the vibes were just high, and then they just dropped into this vibe, and I remember I started tearing up. I felt like I did when I first saw Fish. I felt like I'd come home to like a community that was a part of my life.
Man, hold on. Hold off on the Fish stories, because Nate's gonna be on a fucking Fish high when he gets here. I wanna save some of these Fish vibes for him, man, because I know he's gonna really really want to fucking vibe out about Fish when he gets on here. I love that. So obviously the reason why we're doing this one on one is because of what you have in front of you right now. Um, eh, what the fuck are you doing there?
Okay, so I'll just do a quick back going back into my childhood years. When I was 11, I first heard about Bobby McFerrin's "Don't Worry, Be Happy" and started walking around making noises with my voice. And that same year, my cousin, who's like 4 years
Wait,
older
hold
than
on.
me,
I don't mean to cut you off. Is
no,
Bobby McFerrin's "Don't Worry, Be Happy"? Is that a looped
that
song?
is all vocal. Every sound in that
I did
song
not know that.
is his voice. Yeah.
Should I have known that? Is that like common knowledge? I had no
Well,
idea.
it's definitely his thing, but not many people. I mean, he's kind of like a public secret. It's so weird. Like some people really know him, and then there's a vast amounts of people who don't, which is unfortunate because he is a master of our times.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, so I heard about that song and just started mimicking it. And then my cousin, who's about 4 years older than me, is a huge hip hop head, and introduced me to Dougie Fresh and all these old school hip hoppers and the beatboxing. And so he taught me how to beatbox.
Biz Marquee, all those guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Fat Boys. And so I just kind of started becoming more musical. My house, my family's always listening to music, singing along. No one was really a musician per se, but we all loved music. And so fast forward to high school years, I get turned on to Fish, and their music, I think, really became like a university for me. I learned so much about music and performing and sound and the psychology of music and just how to listen and to feel this something bigger than myself. And then I was in a rock band in high school. I was lead singer of a rock band. And then I think it was 1998. I was living in Atlanta, and started doing open mics, and ended up doing tweener sets at Georgia Theater between bands, and was just doing all a cappella, improv, beatboxing. Moved out to Ashland, Oregon, kept doing open mics, and I got to study with Bobby McFerrin. He had an event up in upstate New York, and so I did this 5-day master class with him and learned.
Is this the first time you ever picked up a looping machine?
Yeah, so I come home from that event with Bobby, and my community had bought me a loop pedal, and I didn't know about it, and I did a concert, and at the end of the concert, 3 members of the community delivered the loop pedal to me.
Cool.
And then that was 2005, and so from there I started looping. I started touring a little bit, and then I found out about Beardy Man and Dub Effects and Kid Beyond, some other peers of mine in the beatbox looping world. Beardy Man's incredible. If you haven't heard of him, he's based out of the UK. He won the.
This is one of my favorite parts about the podcast is
right.
when
Dude,
when more niche musicians start putting us on to more niche musicians.
Yeah.
This is my favorite thing.
I agree. I love that part too. But Beardy Man is great. Dub Effects came out of Melbourne, Australia. He was like busking. And then Kid Beyond is based out of San Francisco. And what he was doing, he was like covering Portishead and shit, just insane. Like what he was doing, he was using Ableton. But anyway, so all of this stuff then led me to getting like a sound effects unit. So now I have like a bass effects synthesizer.
Yeah, what is in front of you? What is I'm not gonna know what it is, but like tell the people what it is.
Yeah, so I've got. My mic runs down into my Boss GT10B. It's a bass effects processor. Like the bassist for Spearhead uses it. A bunch of different, bassists use this technology. And it allows me to do like doom, doom, doom. And then it drops. Doom, doom, doom.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but then that goes into my Boss RC505, which you can kind of see here. At the base of the video screen.
Yeah.
And this is like a 5-channel looping device. Each channel can stack multiple layers. You can undo the top layer. And I use this. It lets me seeg between songs and change sections of songs. Like I'll fill up the left and the right with the rhythm. So the left will be bass and the right will be drums. And then the 3 in the middle, the left one is like the melody, the center one usually becomes the chorus, and then the one to the right is like my interchangeable, like interlocking rhythm, interlocking melodies, etc. It allows me to kind of move things, and then from there I can start changing and moving into a different song or a different genre or whatever.
So how many layers at kind of the this is where we always fall short in kind of terminology, but like how many layers in like the peak of a jam are happening at once? Is there an average, or do you even pay attention to that in the moment?
I can't keep track of all of it, because sometimes I just let it run and just add and add and add and add, and it creates this kind of like symphonic, like choir sound. But yeah, so sometimes I have probably, I would say on average, I have about 8 to 12 layers. And then when I get into jams and start really getting psychedelic, it can get upwards of 30 plus things happening.
Is there, so obviously you've got a background what background do you have in proper instruments?
Zero.
No shit.
Well,
okay.
No, I take that back. In the rock band, our drummer was more interested in girlfriends and getting drunk, and so when we were waiting on him to show up for practice, I would sit behind the kit.
Okay.
So I learned how to play kit, and then when I started my hippie ways and following Fish around, and I would take my djembe. So I have a history with rhythm.
Okay.
Percussion. So.
Okay. because my follow-up question to that was, is there how much, so like obviously with STS9 and with the way I was listening to that, like
Mm.
I'm listening for a bass line, I'm listening for a guitar lick, I'm listening for drum fills, I'm listening for fips and the keys part. Like, and is there any conscious in the moment of like, okay, now I'm gonna do this instrument, now I'm gonna do
Right.
this
Oh
instrument,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
because like I noticed that even at some points you're like literally like air shaking
Yeah.
instruments.
Yes.
um I don't know, that's it's so interesting to me, the lack of proper instrument skills, but still your brain goes to still playing the air version as you're
Right.
doing that. I mean,
Yeah.
is I don't know if I even have a question to that. That's just something I observed that I found really interesting about what you do.
Right. Well, yeah, I joke around and say I came in third place in the Oregon Air Guitar Championships. But I didn't. There was no such thing. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things. I think John Mayer once said, "I wish someone had told me about my facial expressions early on, so I didn't do it now."
Yeah,
So it's one of those things that I just did, and now it's become such a part of what I do that I can't not mimic what I'm performing.
that
And it,
perfectly makes
because
sense.
like I was saying, my musical university was listening to Fish. There was a time when I was living in Atlanta and my stereo went out, and so I was just making my own music on the road driving around, Atlanta. So like that was I would perform, like the drums on the
Yeah,
steering wheel, or come up to a solo, and somebody would be looking at me like I'm a lunatic. But
sure.
in bummer to bummer traffic, it's like 90 degrees. I have no air conditioning, no music, and it feels like a hair dryer's blowing in my face.
Yeah,
you know,
gotta do something to
you
pass
got
the
to do
time.
something to.
No, that's hilarious. I guess one more question before we loop our episodes, kind of
Yes.
close it on the solo dolo part, and bring in my co-host. How long did it take you to get comfortable performing it live like this? I mean, fully looped in the, I guess, cornflower presentation that we have today.
Um, I mean, I I don't know. I've always been comfortable for the most part getting in front of people and on a mic and on a stage. My brother, growing up, my brother was a dancer and an actor and a singer, and so I would go to his performances and wanted to be like my brother. Like my brother's my superhero. Everything he did, I wanted to do. He introduced me to house music in middle school, and just was like, oh, I want to go dance at raves. That's what my brother does, so
Sure.
that's what I want to do. So that kind of came naturally, which is bizarre because I was super shy growing up. But yeah, I feel like, to answer your question, I would say what I'm doing now started to really click into shape around 2011, 2012. I had to take 2012 off because I hurt my vocal cords. And so when I
Ooh.
came back in 2013, that was really the beginning of the era that I'm currently in as a musician. That was, I think, that where I really locked in on, because at that point it was weird because I thought my purpose was music and doing this, and all of a
Vocal
sudden I
cords
can't
get
sing,
hurt.
right? And so it challenged me to look deeper at what purpose really is. And I realized that I'm a connector. And that's
Mm.
like my work is to connect people to each other and to the great music, and like to connect heart to heart and create spaces where people feel safe to be themselves. And because in that space, it's like we drop our guard, we put down our swords and our shields and can really get to know one another and heal and work things out and become better humans. And so I think that year was a big reset intentionally for why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so everything seemed to magnetize in after that. Like people started showing up. I can help. Here's a benefactor. Here's a sound engineer helping me tweak my sound. Here's a film guy. All these things started to happen because I feel like I had aligned myself with my deeper purpose for doing it. And I think that's why that all happened in the first place. But yeah, I'd say 2011, 2012, but 2013 was where everything you're seeing now really kind of started.
Very cool. Very cool. This is going to be really cool, guys, because not only do we have as much as we've already done in front of us, back with my boy on Thursday, but now we have the opportunity to run back our own game tape and come up with some follow-up questions. So there's going to be 2 days in between what you hear now and our comeback, but it's just going to be a couple of seconds. So without further ado, welcome back, my friend Nathan Schuler.
Scotty, it is good to be back home. My goodness, I never thought I'd make it home. First of all, what a week in New York. 5-night run for Fish, celebrating the 92nd, 93rd, 94th, 95th, and 96th shows at Madison Square Garden with the 1992, 1993, 1994, 1995, 1996 themes. So, with all that being said, a 52-hour travel experience, through canceled flights, missed standby lists, spending the night at the Newark airport, getting stuck in Charlotte last night. I got off the plane at O'Hare here today, and I nearly cried tears of joy, man. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it home, but what a fucking blast. Fish at Madison Square Garden. If anyone ever has the chance to do that, this is my second time making the pilgrimage. Absolutely do it. And if you get a chance to see Fish this summer, they're on fucking fire. Do it. But good to join you guys. Cornflower, welcome to the program. Got a chance to check out the first half here. What a fucking unbelievable performance, man. That is like some headier Keller Williams type shit going on here, man. With a little bit of STS9 flares. So I think that was probably the coolest start to our show that we've had so far here, Scotty.
Oh, wow. Without a doubt. And good to have you back, brother. You got off the plane and you said, "Let's fucking pod." And I appreciate that. You don't if you can do it, you fucking will. And 52 hours in, man, I don't know if I'd be sounding as good as you do. I cannot believe you have a voice right now. Like our normal listeners have no idea that this dude loses his voice. It runs like it's his job.
Hey, it's been a while. It's been a while since I've done that. Yeah.
It speaks to how long it's been that we have gone 90 consecutive weeks, 91 because we did miss a week in a row, and you have never come in here raspy. And if the people had heard you raspy, it would be horrifying. Like y'all don't, Cornflower, you don't understand how bad this man sounds. So bad. It's when you're talking to somebody that's losing your voice and you're like, "Oh, please stop. It's like hurting me." Like I feel like I'm going through it. That's how bad Nate loses his voice. But you sound great, partner. So let's pod.
Fish fans are way less keen on anybody saying anything during a show, so I think that helps. I'm a lot quieter at a Fish show than I'm in an STS9 show, where there's a whole lot of hooting and hollering at STS9 shows, but not so much at Fish. Is very encouraged to keep it quiet. But
I have friends that have the tattooed STFU on their finger, and they just
oh, that's
just
funny.
Like with a smile, they're like,
"Yep," just bands on stage. But yeah, the only thing I've unpacked is this shirt, so let's fucking get into it. So
you know what, we don't have it in this order. We do have some follow-up questions based on what we put down and what you and I put down a couple days ago. But since we're on the topic of Fish, I had a few on that. Specifically, you talked about studying Fish's music as both a fan and as a student. For people who aren't as well versed in or aren't into them at all, what makes them to you as a touring musician worth studying?
Um, well, the way that well, first off, they are totally music professors. Like just the way they operate as musicians, they are well studied students, and the best students are the best teachers. And they all their rehearsal patterns, their practices were the things that really like when I first started getting into them. I think it was after I read uh, a Phil Lesh um, autobiography, The Searching for the Sound. He was talking about just jamming and where they got the idea for jamming through John Coltrane's My Favorite Things cut, and
Hmm.
how he had presented that to the band saying, let's do this. Let's like explore the boundaries of the song. And so I started like digging deeper into their practice styles. And in a lot of interviews they've talked about it in little piece parts, but what I got was they have this thing called Find Your Own Hay, and where they will play together and one of the members will find a new theme, and then they will repeat that theme until every single band member is also playing it in their style on their instrument. And just stuff like that really got me super nerding out on what they're doing. A lot of it is some music theory stuff that I don't have any idea about, but I feel it. I feel the music, and um, but yeah, I think YEM, You Enjoy Myself, was the song that really connected to me because I'd had a relationship with Bobby McFerrin's music since I was 11 and beatboxing since I was 11. And so hearing them vocal jam
Mm-hmm.
made me like, I went, oh my God, I do that. Like, I can do that, you know?
Yeah.
Ah.
And so I would be at shows and I would just be I mean, obviously CK5, Chris Kuroda is the official fifth member, but I would I would like jam vocally along with the music, and when the music ended, I would keep going and walk out to the parking lots, and then people would circle around me and there would be a full on like jam session.
Mm-hmm.
And so my friends were like, dude, you gotta do something with that, you know. And at that time, I was just psycho, not goofing around with my voice. So that was kind of what got me really studying them and wanting to learn how they do what they do and how they communicate with one another through the music. But that just led me down pathways to the Dead and then to jazz, and how jazz musicians communicate through the sound. So I'm not sure if I answered your question, but
No, 100%.
okay.
Yeah, that was a
Did
great answer.
Oh,
did you
thanks.
have full-time musician aspirations before those experiences, or do you feel like that kind of cracked that idea open for you?
Um, I don't think I don't know. I grew up in a house with music being played constantly. My dad listened to classical and jazz. My mom listened to R&B. My sister listened to like indie folk from the 80s. My brother listened to classic rock and Broadway and like comedy albums in the living room. And I would be so jealous of him. I wanted to like go in the living room, but I was too young. I'm like the whoops of the family. My sister's 12 years older than me. My brother's 9.5 years older than me. And so I looked up to him and considered him like my superhero. And so he'd be playing music, uh, and I would be hearing this stuff and just getting into all that. But then my brother became a performer, actor, singer, dancer, and I wanted to be like him, you know. And I just
Hmm.
thought it was so cool what he could do on stage. And so I just went, oh, okay, maybe I'm supposed to do that too. And so, but I wasn't really like going, I'm going to do this. It just was there in the
Mm-hmm.
field.
Hmm.
And then in my freshman year of high school, I was studying Latin, and one of the tests was singing like some kind of Latin song. And at the end of it, a guy named Gerard, who I owe a lot of my music career too, because if he hadn't have tugged me on this, I don't know if I would have gone this direction. He said, "Hey man, you got a great voice. You want to join a band? You want to be in a band with me? I play drums. I've got a friend that's a guitarist." And so we started a band, but unfortunately, Gerard and the bassist that we had were not really interested in learning songs. They just wanted to get high and get drunk, which I don't mind that, but I really was like it triggered something in me. I went, I really want to do this. I was into creative writing and poetry, and so I immediately started writing songs, but had no melodies for them. And I meet the guitarist, and we just hit it off, and then went and did had like a band, um, had people come in to test out to be in the band, and so we got a bassist and drummer, and we were called the Lounge, and we played like I think they're called the Devilish Debs. They're kind of like I don't know, like the frat kind of thing, but for girls in high school. I can't remember the name of it, but we were doing a lot of their parties. And then the school found out about us and started hiring us to come and play like official school parties. And then next thing you know, we're getting booked in clubs around the Tri-Cities in Northeast Tennessee, and even started getting gigs in Knoxville. And so when we were graduating, my guitarist was like being scouted by Boeing, and was like he's like getting like 4.2 GPA and all this stuff, and
Ah,
my head's hanging by a thread, just raging every night and like taking acid and going playing the shows. I thought I was Jim Morrison reincarnated, all that shit. And but we did a lot of covers of like the Pixies and Dinosaur Jr. and Husker Du and all these like 80s punk and alternative rock stuff. But then I was turned on to Fish. I think it was my senior year. My best friend was shipped off to a private school because we were getting into too much trouble, and so I didn't have like a best buddy going in my senior year.
where did you get shipped to?
Somewhere in Chattanooga.
Okay,
I don't remember
I
the
just
name. It was like an all boys school.
sure.
But
Macaulay.
possibly, yeah, it may have
Yeah,
been Macaulay.
yeah. We're from the same
Um,
neck of the woods. All right, my bad friends got shipped off to those places too.
and so, bizarrely enough, uh, my first class was an art class, and I walk in my first day, my senior year. I don't have my best friend by my side, and there's this kid with like maroon hair and a ponytail, shaved around the sides, full on like skate multicolored clothing, and that the only seat in the room was right beside him. I mean, I probably would have sat beside him anyway, because he looked really cool. But I was like, "Hey, man, you're not from here," and he's like, "Yeah, my parents shipped me off here to get away from the drug scene in San Luis Obispo." And next thing you know, we're having a sleepover that next weekend. He has some white fluff. We both take a hit. It's my first hit of LSD, and he's like, "Have you ever heard of Fish?" Hadn't heard of him yet. He put on Junta, and I heard and I was hooked, man. I didn't have to hear anything else.
That,
Like I just
that
was
fish, that
lost.
fishman pocket. Yeah, you got lost in the pocket,
Dude,
huh?
I got lost in the pocket. Have not come out since. Have not come out since. But yeah, so that's a long-winded answer that I still don't even know if that was sufficient answer to your question.
No,
Oh,
it's
absolutely, yeah.
of course it was. I mean, it does. It seems like ultimately it had a lot to do with it, if not that, a combination of that guy inviting you to be in a band, and then
Right.
your friend at a Fish show saying, "Hey, you should do something with this." I
Right.
mean,
Yes. Yeah. So there were
these two things
things that kind
converge,
of
and boom, yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. So, one follow up, kind of, I guess, in on both Fish and STS9. You specifically described your world as the improvisational music scene.
mm,
Plenty of, I was thinking about this after we talked, and it occurred to me that like most musicians never even touch improv, like it's a very specific realm that does this often, and it's like jam and jazz and like what however you would describe what you do. What do you love most about living in that world? Because with your type of music in particular, it's ever present in everything that you do all the time when you're presenting your craft.
Right. So yeah, when I started, it was all improv, and I think honestly, I'm also a painter, or at least I used to be. Did abstract painting, and people said, why did you choose abstract painting? And I went, because it's fun. It's like there's no line. It's like
That's
coloring
a great
outside of the
answer.
lines. It's like coloring outside of the lines. And so to answer that with music, I had zero music background other than listening to literally every single style of music. I loved everything I heard. I just soaked in music. I'm one of that percentage that like cries and gets goosebumps and feels it on a deep visceral
Same,
level, right?
same.
And so I think the improv thing uh, then really folded in really well, and that's why I felt like I was home after my first Fish show
Yeah,
in '95s, because I felt that air of like freedom. But I think even more so, what happens in that space when a group of people are all collectively in agreement to be in that field, in that uh, sound experience
yeah.
together, like in the unknowns, like we're all riding this wave together.
Yeah,
And
you're standing in front of people, but you're in your own little bubble.
right, you're solo, but you're totally connected,
Hmm.
uh, beyond name, beyond demographic, beyond style of clothes, beyond style of music you like. There is something that's moving through the room that's bigger than all of its parts. And years pass, and I read that Searching for the Sound, and Phil talks about this, about that experience of this collective connected thing. And I remember when I moved to Atlanta, I got connected with my buddy David Gray, who ended up, he was the one that took me to the Day Out of Time at Round Mountain in 1999 to see that first show with STS9. We actually, I think Bellshare was that weekend, and they had MMW playing in downtown Asheville. So we went and saw them
Mm,
first, and then went up the
hell
mountain
yeah.
to do STS9. And but why was I bringing that up? Okay, when I went to Atlanta and was hanging out with David, we would watch like the White Album performance by Fish, and he talked to me because he got to see the Dead. I didn't really have a connection with the Dead. It was like their best hits, their greatest hits in high school. We were smoking pot
Sure.
and drinking kegs to, Friend of the Devil. Well, that was about the depth of my understanding of the Grateful Dead. But then through Fish and following Fish and connecting with Deadheads, they kind of like showed me the way. I remember I
Sure.
was up. It was after the Wolf Mountain '96 Fish show. We went to Boulder to try to score tickets for Red Rocks. Couldn't get into Red Rocks. Ended up going up to Netherland to camp, and we pulled down this pathway, and there was a fire, and there was a crew of people with old VW buses around it. They're all puffing. So I pulled up. I was with a couple ladies, and I said, "Hey, let's ask them if they know if there's any spots." I go up to them, and this guy named Alex. He said, "Yeah, there's spots down there, but we've got a fire, we got a place, we got bud, we got drinks. Come and hang with us." So short story long, he finds out that I don't really dabble in the Dead, and so he said, "Hey, everybody, give us 15 minutes. I'm going to go show Cornflower what he's missing." And so
Yeah.
he put his arm around me, took me to his truck. He had a "Fill Me Up" sticker over his gas tank. We sat in there. He pulled out a Sherbler, packed it with the most delicious cannabis I've ever smelled in my life, lit it up, put a tape in. I think it was a 77 Morning Dew, I think.
I was gonna say, I was wondering what the song was gonna be. I was on the
And
edge of my seat for what the song was gonna be.
and I was just weeping. I was weeping at the solo. I got it. It got into me, and I understood. It's like it unlocked and made sense of everything. Fish, So hey, help me get back to the point. Where what was
It's
the
living in the world of improv.
living in the world of improv? Thank you. So fast forward, my buddy David Gray's talking about his experience of seeing the Dead, but being in these huge stadiums, and you could feel so distant and disconnected from the stage. But he said there was one time he was walking down the steps with two beers in his hand, and he was on I think some L, and he like slipped kind of backwards and went like this forwards, and when he did it, Phil went boop, boom, like it was like a soundtrack to him falling, and then he went and then started like moving, and Phil was playing to his movements. And he's like, an ant in the distance.
Yeah.
There's no way Phil could see him,
Yeah.
but he could feel him. And now that I perform and have been in an experience with thousands of people in a crowd and have like done music and felt people I can't see, like you don't, it's not even like, it's not even fully conscious. You're not really aware that that's what's happening. But then people came up to me afterwards and said, "Oh, I was feeling this," and then you started singing like my thoughts, and so that's with improvisation. We're getting back to the point of the matter. With improvisation, I feel like that space allows for the co-creation in the moment with all of the people that are in the building together.
Yeah, no, you hear
Yeah.
Zach talk about it ad nauseum at this point with the
Yes.
symbiotic thing, and you
Yeah.
do this thing together, right?
That's right.
Which, you get in this zone, right? Where, I'm curious, like, do you ever hear stuff back and like not remember doing it or like not remember how you pull it off? Yeah.
All the time. All the time.
Mhm.
There was so bear with me. I'm a recovering woo-woo spiritual guy. I'm deeply spiritual, but I'm recovering woo-woo, I think is the definer. But
Okay.
there was something that someone said to me that stuck with me, and I love wordplay. And they said the word universe is actually made up of two words: universe, one song. And that
Hmm.
fucking landed in my heart so deeply. And I feel like we're all instruments in this symphony of the universe. And when we all, we agree, we buy the tickets to the show, buy the ticket, take the ride, we're saying yes to that. We're saying yes to that experience, especially with these bands, STS9, these bands that understand the bigger thing that's happening that we're all a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just channeling this bigger thing. We don't know what it really is. We can try to name it, but it's this great mystery that's like connecting us all. And I find that the science of just agreements, when we agree together to something, that it becomes bigger than ourselves. So
Love
Love
that.
that.
I love
Yeah.
that. So when you were talking about Kaya the other night, you spoke about the song title as much as you did the song itself, and it got me thinking from your perspective as somebody who makes songs and names songs. How significant is the name of a song title to how the song lands? Is it integral to how the song is received, or is it just a nice cherry on top?
it can go both ways, but I definitely feel like the name is important because it's the doorway you're inviting people to walk through. Does that
Sure.
make sense? So you
Mhm.
want to paint the door pretty. You want to make the door interesting to walk through. You want to give
Mhm.
them a reason to turn the handle. So I think the names that we use are important in that sense, but at the same time, there's bands like Ween, with song names that just are totally bonkers, but it draws you in. There's
Mhm.
Sure.
it does cause some kind of curiosity. Oh, what's this one going to be about?
Yeah.
So I think there's a talisman. Things have energy to them. They are instruments of an intention, And so the name can be very, very important to holding that intention.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know you pointed us in the right direction a couple nights ago with just some looping artists. You'd point people towards with people that are unfamiliar with the scene. But if you were to pick one person in STS9 that you could loop with, who do you think that might be?
Oh, fuck. I'll be honest. It's been a dream of mine since I have become a musician to get to play with those guys. Uh,
Mm,
but I would say probably Phipps, because of his modular system, and he
mm,
can produce so many different things, uh, and it would be really easy for me to lock in and drop beats and then sing, scat, jam vocally over top of it. Like, although I remember when I was first really getting started with like trying to do something with my beatboxing, it was after a Georgia theater show, and I was doing the Dreamspell calendar, Galactic Signatures beside Eugene at the merch booth, and we were like packing up, and Zach had come up to like the main floor near the entrance, and I was like, "Hey man, I've been beatboxing a lot, and I've been practicing my drum and bass." And I remember him going, "Show me," and I was not ready. I was not ready,
Like,
but I
please don't
started.
make me do that.
Yeah, so I started, do my thing, and he was into it. He was like, "Oh, it's good," but you could tell he was like, "You have some work to do, but get back to me." Uh, um, but yeah, I mean, I would, God, yeah, I jam whenever I listen. It's kind of like what I did with Fish back in the early days. Whenever I listen to Soundtribe, I'm always jamming vocals over top of it. And it's not always just lyrics. It's like, just trying to create like an instrument. Like I love when Karsh Calais sits in with them. So I
Hmm.
learned how to do vocal tabla sounds. So like whenever I hear them playing without any shows or, songs without tabla, I'll, start doing my tabla sounds over top of it. But I think Jeffrey now has that, like, does he have real tablas now, or does he still have the sampler?
No,
The
I
yeah, I
think
think
he's
he's
got
got
real
real
tablas
ones.
now.
Yep.
That's what I thought. I thought he had moved to
Yeah.
real ones. Yeah.
I
Anyway,
did.
yeah.
Hey, Nate, did you have somebody? Did you have someone that you thought he was gonna say? Like, did you think it was gonna be Phipps, or did you have a different
I
idea of it?
I had no idea, but typically when I find myself after shows, like whether it's walking back to the car or like leaving the venue or something like that, like having like something like in my head, and like
Mm,
it's typically those Phipps like modular
mm,
patches and all the weird blotchy sounds and everything like that.
right.
So
So
I'm not surprised he went that, but I didn't really have an inkling, no, but
good.
I guess I think in my I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what I thought he might say, but I think I thought you were gonna say Alana for some
Oh,
reason.
well, I mean, so that was my first show in Knoxville seeing Alana.
Okay, so we are all over the place. We have an order, but let's just go there. So, and
It's
because
okay.
we were gonna ask about that. So,
Yes.
what you took a 20-year gap,
Not
over
intentionally.
20.
Like,
What
like,
happened? Why the fuck would you do that, Cornflower?
well, not to get too personal,
No,
but
sorry, I was
I,
just making a joke.
no, 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 no. It's great, but like I was in a marriage, and
Oh,
it
okay,
it was one of those where she wasn't into the music scene that I was into. I'll leave it at that. Way more
okay.
complex, but I'll leave it at that. And it made it very hard. I basically compromised my whole life to stay in that relationship, and finally got out. And bless her, we're friends. Uh, but it just, that it was just not a good fit in that sense. And like I took her to that my final STS9 show we went to together, and she just didn't it just didn't click for her. And it was hard. That was a hard time for me being away, because I was away from uh there was dynamics that caused me to be away from family my nephews and nieces and my cousins, and it was a really hard time. So, it wasn't just I was out of the loop with music. I was out of the loop with like everybody but trying to stay in this partnership. Um, and I think I was just trying to I was projecting this fantasy land of my mom and dad who had, they met each other in ninth grade. My dad walked through the homeroom and my mom saw him. They fell in love. It was one of those, you know, loved each other until my dad passed. My mom can't wait to be back with him in heaven. You know what I'm saying? So it was like this like perfect kind of thing. I tried to be that and realized that's not possible. I can't recreate that. So there was a lot of that was going on, and just like family health stuff. My brother had a bout with cancer, and then my dad fought cancer and lost. And then I dealt with health stuff, and then my wife dealt with health stuff. So it was just like a lot of challenges that kept me out of the loop. And I think my music career was also a major focus, was building and focusing on growing what I wanted to do. And so that's kind of my best answer to your joke.
My bad.
Well,
no, it's good. And I just, you guys have already committed to this. I mean, you've promoted that you're doing this podcast, but I suck at brevity. So I apologize to everybody's having to listen to me ramble.
No,
here.
You're all good. I mean, we suck at brevity too. That's why we have a fucking podcast, dude. We're not doing we're not doing TikTok shorts, dude. We're cranking out like 2 hours of content every week.
Right.
Well, what do you say? Let's make the transition into the STS9 conversation.
Yeah,
Let's start it with some music here. I know you have a lot of stories around 1999, 2000, and there's a show that you gave us some notes and bullet points on what to hit on that we've already visited as a podcast, and I want to dive into deeper. And this is the fall tour 2000 through Colorado, this Tulagis 3-set show. So we'll start there and let that fuel the conversation.
All right. like they opened a fucking portal.
Man, let's go.
Dude.
Holy cow.
Dude.
So
And
that
what's
is
wild-
Basso
Basso
Profundo from
Yeah.
October 28th, 2000 at Tulagis in Boulder. Talk about it.
And what's wild, that was the last song of the night.
Yes. Yep.
And was that night 1 or 2?
This was night 1.
Night 1.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, what's wild is that was a relatively chill song compared to the show that happened
Yeah.
prior to it. It was just such fire the whole night. I remember
You got the set list pulled up, Nate?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like-
So this Mobster Surreality Ebe, otherwise formless opener. Dance into Squares and Cubes for your Puma. Set 2, Mischief into Moonsocket into Orbital into End Summer Angels. They didn't stop in that set. Set 3, It's
Dude.
Amana, Evasive into it's titled New D&B, but that is Non-Directional Beacon. And then Tap In into King Pharaoh's Tomb into Basso to finish.
yeah.
Well, 3-setter there.
It was crazy. I mean, like, you have to understand, this was a whole Colorado run leading up to Halloween that was in, I think, was it Fort Collins? And
Wasn't this the barn burner year? Or was that 2001?
Yes, it
Yeah.
was.
So
and
Bozeman. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, it was Bozeman. That's right.
Yep.
And I was really wanting to go, but what happened was, quick sidebar, I'd just gotten off of Fish Tour in at Shoreline. They'd played their last show before hiatus, and I walked out of the show, and there were these kids handing out these little flyers that said, "Now that our favorite band is taking a break, what are you going to do with all of this great energy that they've given us?" And so I left the show with that and just started like weeping. I just had tears of joy. Went to Haight-Ashbury, stayed. I was up all night. Was in the morning. They had Blue Angels over the city, and I remembered that Herb and Waldorf were living on Haight and Ashbury. They were living on Haight and Ashbury Street, and so, or down in that area. And so I went to their apartment. Herb was out, but Waldorf was there working on SDS9's website, and I was just like, I'd been up all night, so I was looking in the mirror. My eyes were like super dilated.
Who are these people, for those who don't know?
Okay, so Mark Revital and David Waldorf are the whole Home Park Georgia Tech crew. They held the Home Park Fest, and that's like the original Sector 9 trio played there, and Phipps was in a band prior that was opening for them, and he sat in with them, and then they were like, we're now a quartet.
Do you remember the name of that band? Because it was a great name in the band that Phipps was in. It was like Ghost Glue or Gorilla Glue or something like that.
I think it was Gorilla Glue.
Yeah,
I remember Gorilla. That's all I remember.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next year they held it again, and or no, I think that first year Waldorf played percussion.
Okay.
David Waldorf, who he was helping them with web and graphics. But then I think Steve Weiss, who later him and Mark Urbital started 420 Tickets, that then became In Ticketing. And then I forgot what that then became.
Waldorf designed the offered schematic suggesting peace art, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
With Kofi. So anyway.
Whoa, I'm sorry. I said like I knew that. Did Kofi Burbridge help design the art for?
No. He was on.
Yeah. He was on a couple of those. He was on a lot of Artifact too.
Yeah. He was in the whole crew back in that day. So anyway, so I was at their apartment, and Waldorf was like way into the Dreamspell calendar, this stuff STS9 was, putting in their music and the tone of the day and all that stuff. And he said, "Hey, Cornflower, do you know your galactic signature?" And I said, "No." So it's so funny that I'm in front of a mirror. I was standing in front of the mirror looking into my eyes, and he got my birthday, and he goes, "You're a white rhythmic mirror." And I remember he said mirror, and it kind of like repeated, like mirror, mirror, mirror. And I'm looking at a mirror on a wall. I'm seeing myself in the mirror. Fast forward, he's like, "Dude, they're playing in Colorado," because I was about to drive back east to Atlanta where I was living. And, but I needed a rider. So I went back out onto Haight to see if I could find anybody, and found this woman named Rachel Vaughn, who her sister married Richard Devine.
Oh yeah.
Former guest of the podcast.
Yeah. And so Rachel and she became my gas rider. And so I was like, "Hey, are you down to go and do Soundtribe tour in Colorado?" So we drove and started in Durango, and, connected with the band and hung out with them in the back alley. I don't remember the name of the venue, but I remember showing the band. I was trying to like mellow out on my cannabis smoking. And so I had put like a nug per day in one of those like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, schedulers, like pill
one
schedulers.
A day. Yep.
Yeah, one a day. Exactly.
One a day.
And so I was showing them that. They're like, "Dude, we need to do that." But so then we connected. I told them we're going to be following y'all through Colorado, and so we went to Tulagi's. And what was awesome about that night, and I think there's many reasons they were on fire at that time, but that night, because it was a 2-night run, they could leave all of their stuff in Tulagi's, and just down 13th Street into the Pearl District, you had Soma, which had LTJ Bookham and MC Conrad playing after their show. And this is before they met, before they had any communication with them. And so we all walked down to the club together after the show and went and hit up Bookham and Conrad. And it's a small venue. And I'll never forget that night. It was so many magical things happening, but the band just like from start to finish, it was just on. And like when we were listening to Basso, there was that moment when they're all doing their thing, but then they start to coalesce, and it makes me feel like the Avengers are all flying and like unlocking a fucking portal, and then it opens, and then you go into that funk thing that they did. It's like, but that felt tame compared to that whole show that night. It was just so intense.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a few times now, and when we were talking in the first half of this interview, the dream spell calendar.
Yeah.
Kind of giving them as brief of an explanation as you can for the uneducated on what that is and kind of how it connects to STS-9, and then
Okay.
tell us your story about getting Artifact to Jose Arguelles. Am I saying
Yeah,
that correctly?
Jose Arguelles. So Jose Arguelles found out about the 13 Baktun cycle from a guy named Tony Shearer, who had been visiting an elder Mayan woman um, in Palenque. And he knew Jose. Jose had done some kind of, he was an author of some books. He helped start the Whole Earth Festival in Davis, California, which then led to Earth Day being created. He was a major
Oh
part of that.
wow.
He helped bring Chagam Trungpa Rinpoche to Boulder, to Naropa Institute, and which started the Shambhala Institute in Boulder. Um, and anyway, so he's known for helping popularize the 2012 end date of the Mayan
Ah,
calendar, which is a
okay.
misnomer because number one, the Maya kept 20 different calendars. The one that ended is a cycle, and like all cycles, they keep going. So it
Sure.
was just the completion of a very large cycle that ended in 12/21/2012. Um,
That was the
so
worst hangover I've ever had in my life on that day. I'm
that's,
not gonna tell the rest of that story, but that's just what I remember about that day.
but I first got turned on to it through STS-9 at the day out of time. The day out of time is the 365th day of the year. If you look at 13 months of 28 days, it's a solar and lunar calendar combined. There are multiple indigenous and communities around the world that follow moon calendars, but most of them are lunar centric. They're not balanced with the sun, and the Gregorian calendar is solar centric, so it's more masculine. And so the idea of this calendar
Hmm.
was balancing out the feminine and masculine by bringing the moon and the sun together. 13 months, 28 days equals 364 days of the year. And then the 365th day is the New Year's Eve. That's the day out of time. And instead of it being a part of a week or a month, that's what makes it like on its own. And whenever I visualize it, I see time radiating out like a wheel, and the day out of
Mm,
time is in the center.
okay.
And so they were promoting the dream spell, which is a 260-day cycle that the Maya created. It was their spiritual calendar. It was like the center of all of their 20 calendars. And 20 is also a very important number. 10 fingers, 10 toes, 20 total digits, 13 major articulations of the body. 13 times 20 equals 260. It's the gestation cycle of the human from conception to birth, and is also the cycle of Venus around the sun from the perspective of the earth. Um, so the Maya, in most indigenous culture, base their cosmology on things that are viewable around them.
Hmm.
They see patterns and they document it, and then they see synchronicities with other patterns, and then go, "There's something there," and follow that path. And a lot of times they're using, medicines, psychedelics, psychotropics, and it opens them up to this information that you wouldn't normally see. So Jose Arguelles, I would say the greatest thing that he brought to my attention was that we were the only species that operated on uh, a time outside of the natural rhythms of the Earth and the universe. And he posited maybe that's why we're so disconnected,
Mm,
and why we're
Hmm.
destroying the natural world is because we've disconnected from those rhythms. Um, and so if he were to go down in history, I hope that people focus on that as opposed to, we're all humans. We all make mistakes. We all are growing through trauma and stuff. And, I think it got a bad rap from elder Mayan uh, people because it was like kind of a neo version of their calendar. The calendar that the 13 Baktun cycle is about, you could reference back to the Cholkij Maya. they had what they called the long count, and that's what kind of purists follow, the long count. But what I would always argue is that they're the same pattern, and it's the pattern that matters. We're getting caught up in semantics. And so I worked like from STS9. I got introduced to this information, found out about Jose, read all of his books, started traveling with STS9 to shows and hanging out with Eugene at the merch table and decoding people's galactic signatures. Started doing retreats and workshops on the 13-moon calendar and the 260-day cycle. And then I got a call in 2003. I was on a 2-year parole for getting busted with weed in between Athens and Atlanta. I was jamming out to a prog electronica prog rock trio named Basement. It was 3 guys that moved into the house that STS9 used to live in outside of Athens when they moved to Santa Cruz, or when they moved to Watson. I always get it confused because it was like Watkinsville and Watsonville. Which one is in
It's
California?
Watkinsville.
I can't remember.
Watkinsville's Georgia.
Watkins?
Watkins is Georgia. I don't know nothing.
Okay, so, right. I always thought that was funny that they moved from Watkins to Watsonville. But, so I ended up moving in with the Basement crew and became a supporter of those guys. And so I was listening to one of their CDs and got caught speeding, went to jail, had to move back home to Tennessee. But yeah, so like, that whole thing, I get a phone call. My dad picks up the phone, and Jose Arguelles goes, "May I speak with Cornflower?" And my dad's like, "Who the fuck are you?" John, my birth name's John Francis. And he's like, "John, there's a guy named Jose Arguelles on the phone. He's looking for a Cornflower." So I come running down the steps like, "No way!" Like, this guy is like this amazing dude that's brought forth all this crazy information. So I took the call, and he's like, "Yeah, the word's gotten around that you've been helping spread this 13-moon calendar all across the East Coast, and we need a manager for the Foundation for the Law of Time out here in Ashland, Oregon. Would you like to take the job?" So I've moved out to Ashland, became really deep. At that point, I'd become really close with Jose. He became a really dear friend and mentor of mine, almost like a galactic papa to me. Like because he talked that kind of trippy language where my dad didn't. Even though my dad was amazing, I love my dad tremendously. He was such a gift. I was very lucky. But Jose also became like my West Coast dad, and so I worked for him, and all this time, I'd had that relationship with STS9 already, doing the galactic signatures, and had run those booths. And I can't remember how it all linked up together, but I was running Tortuga.com. I was the webmaster for that, which is the home for the Planet Art Network, which is like a decentralized network promoting the 13-moon calendar and Dream Spell calendar to the world. And I can't remember if it was Free or HB that contacted me and asked if there was any way I could see if Jose would be open to doing this thing for their upcoming album. And I was like, "Sure, you just mail it to this address, to the office here. I'll take it up to him." I go up and meet with him like twice a week. And so got the package, and it was so quick sidebar. Jay Murphy, David Murphy's brother, is like the mini disc master. And so I had never heard of mini discs before him. And so Free sends this mini disc, and I went, "Oh my God, it's got this." I knew exactly how to run it because I'd talked with Jay about it. And so I went up to Jose's and went into his meditation space where he downloaded all these codes for the Dream Spell calendar and handed it to him and just talked to him about the band more. They had already had a bit of a relationship. They had done a day out of time in Portland when Jose was living in Portland, Oregon. I can't remember what year that was. If it was like, it seemed like early like, but I don't. It doesn't. The math isn't mathing with the years. With so I'm not exactly sure how or when that happened, but they did have a previous connection with him through a different person. So he was aware of them, but he didn't really spend too much time listening to their music. So I played them their music, so you could get a vibe for it. And I think they had kind of an idea of what they were wanting, and I think it was in a letter to him that I handed over. And so that was, the most insane society that ever, that whole thing. I think there's also, what is it, Twilight? He's also on Twilight.
Yeah.
Oh,
but then
that's him on Twilight? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's from a lecture he gave in San Francisco that I think Free was there, but I don't know how many of the other band members were there. But I know Free was there. He was the one that recorded it. And that was where he's talking about Charlemagne. Goes into the history of that the clock was created as a toy originally for Charlemagne as a gift for his birthday. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you couldn't have. I had this clip pulled to get into the harmonic. To get into the harmonic convergence conversation here. So this couldn't have flowed any better. Let's take a listen to this from Harmonic Convergence 02.
Such a badass song, by the way. Oh my god.
Does it really matter if we wanted to hear it or not? I mean, it's your opinion. You can state it. It's your belief.
I feel timeless.
Oh,
How fucking cool is that?
that is so good. I'd
Dude.
forgotten because that's 2002, so that's before
Yeah,
that
probably
quote
before
sample.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
exactly.
I went out because I moved out to Ashland in December 21st of 2003. So so that's like, a year plus before then. But what was the sample?
The sample was "That's Your Voice," right? I think it was from the same person, right? But they got him to do the new sample with the, Most Insane Society or something like that. And then like you talk about things being out of time, right? Like I think it's I feel timeless, right?
I feel timeless.
I feel
I feel
timeless.
timeless.
Yeah,
God, that's awesome.
it's the OG like
And the
native end.
hi-hat.
Yeah,
Dude,
and
like
honestly, Murph is going nuts on that shit. That's
Yeah.
some really good Murph right there.
for sure.
But before they kind of brought the guitar into it, right? And before you obviously see what Native End kind of turns into, and later in 03, 04, 05, and what we're hearing today, right? With
Right.
the infusion of the Hunter guitar licks, the adjusting of the samples that you talked about, and how those came to be, just perfectly led into that. So that was really cool to take a listen to what the
Thanks for
concept
that
of that
memory.
song was before that. But yeah, we wanted to talk about harmonic convergence, man. Take us to Deerfields. Talk about these weekends to us.
Dude, the place is just it felt like it was out of Lord of the Rings. The venue is just stunning. First off, obviously it's in the lush mountains of, outside of Asheville, and it's one of the best festival venues I've ever been to. And it's real. I don't know if they're still doing stuff there, but I remember going, and when we parked and started to walk down the path, you could feel like all of your life falling away, and it was just the now. We were in the present moment in this amazing event, and these were the events that my friend Jen Isis helped organize with Sound Tribe. I don't know if you know Jen Isis, Jen Chadburn. She worked on Fish's team for a little while, then worked with Sound Tribe. Uh, More recently, she was working for Nectar's in Burlington. She's an amazing sister. But yeah, so she hooked up the booth for me to set up the Dream Spell. It was like the Dream Spell station, and we had just a whole like multiple tables. There's a photo somewhere that somebody had sent me. I have to see if I have to find that, see if I can find that and send it to you guys. Of young Cornflower with his very short hair, like decoding people's galactic signatures. But it was like, I don't know, man. It was just like walking into a different world. And like you walk down the path, and once you started to come into Deerfields, off to the left was where the main stage was. There's a huge field there, and it was facing out in towards the park. And then if you kept going down the path off to the right, they had side stages. But was that first year? I can't remember. I think that was Ming and FS.
Yeah,
Was
yeah,
the other big like act.
yeah. That's sat in with a moon socket the next night. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. Y'all, that's one of those moments that are, you wish you could time travel and just like sit
Hmm.
back and watch everybody like
Yeah.
experiencing it. Because I remember the next year with Bookham and Conrad, they had Deism sit in, and I remember crying. I was like, it was so, I felt so liberated. I don't know, something about that land and their music mixing together and the vibe of the tribe community. It felt like everything that the band was about, their intentions with their music, it all just kind of coalesced into this space for us to kind of really experience why they're doing what they're doing musically. It
Hmm.
felt like, kind of a Jedi training camp into the world of Sound Tribe's, music. And they talked, I think there was like some workshops, if I remember correctly. Um, I can't remember who it was. I don't know if it was Murph or HB, but I think they were talking about some of the more electronica stuff that they were starting to incorporate, and the sampling, and vaguely remember something about some kind of workshop happening about that. But yeah, it was just such a beautiful thing because I think that was the first, was that their first festival?
I think Harmonic Convergence O2 was, yes. And
Yeah.
then
So,
they did O2, O3, O4, and then they got into the regen years, and I think the last regen at Deerfields was in '07, I think, before they
okay.
headed to Horningside out. Yeah. Mhm.
Right. Um, but yeah, it was a very, very special time to be a Sound Tribe fan because
Mhm.
you felt them like really stepping into, this is our world. Welcome to our, like, come into, this is our people. This is what we're about. This is the musicians that we love. These are the groups that we love. These are the groups that we're wanting to help, you guys learn about and connect to. And it was very intimate. Um, it felt like there was a lot of people and not a lot of people at the same time. And I
Yeah.
think that's just because of the way the venue's set up. It just really held everybody. So it didn't feel packed. It had just a really lovely spaciousness, and they really grew into it in '03. Um, but yeah, that venue's magic. I would love to go back there just to like walk the property.
To
Yeah.
answer your question, it doesn't look like. I mean, there is the venue still exists, and
Yeah,
from what I can find on my a brief cell phone search, is it's still a big wedding venue, and it talks
right,
about past events being held there, and
right,
STS 9's on a long list of musicians, but I don't see any kind of active um, events happening on those grounds. So I don't know if it's shifted to more of a wedding venue or if back then that was a much smaller event compared to what it would
right.
be now.
I think there
Um,
was just some issues with either sound or leftover damage, or
that would make sense.
something, or ownership, or something happened because it doesn't seem like they do stuff there anymore, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, I
But
think I
yeah,
think it turned into a little bit too big of a party, I think
yeah, I think so.
is what
But
I've heard. Yeah, but
but y'all, it was the mothership taking off with
oh,
those guys. I like both in the location and the vibe of the music, but also the band and stepping into kind of their next level of what
yeah.
Sure.
they can accomplish.
Going from a band playing a bunch of bars and smaller venues to like, okay, now we're bringing computers on the stage and we're breaking the barrier of shit and like kind of like a celebration of that almost, right?
Right, exactly.
Is
Literal harmonic convergence. That's a fucking
yeah.
really
Yeah,
cool observation, Nate. That's a
Yep.
really cool
and you
observation.
know the history of that phrase, harmonic convergence. Do you guys know where that comes from?
That's a
Enlighten
mind
us.
thing too, right?
Yeah, that was the name that Jose Arguelles gave the end of the 13 heavens and 9 hells cycle that ended. It was the Bach, the I think it's the end. So I guess the cycle started when Hernan Cortez came in with the doctrine of discovery from Pope Gregory the 13th and sent him to the New World. And he robbed them of their gold, destroyed their like iconography, took a bunch of stuff and took it back to Rome, and like imposed upon them, the Christian faith. But that was like supposed to be the beginning of the 13 heavens, 9 hell cycle. That was supposed to end August 16th and 17th of 1987. And so that's what Jen was trying to, like, I think it was right around that weekend, if I'm not mistaken. So it was in celebration of that kind of anniversary of the harmonic convergence. And there were people, like, I think Jose said, have 144,000 people gather around the world for peace and love, super hippie shit. Kumbaya around the fires, but there was this deeper purpose and meaning behind it, and it definitely felt like there was this connection to this bigger thing there.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we want to do a fun exercise here, and it honestly, we've hit on it already briefly with your final show in 2005. So we're going to start there with this, and then just get into a discussion on what we feel like has been a little bit different since then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
That right there.
Yep.
Come on, bro. that, bro?
What in the fuck? What the fuck does Ashland, Oregon? What do they
Yo.
need? What do they need that for?
Yeah. Well, so quick context. There was we had talked about them coming and headlining the Day Out of Time Festival in Ashland in 2004, and
Okay.
HB emailed me and said, "Dude, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Perry Farrell just asked us to play Lollapalooza, and it's gonna be over those dates,
Yeah.
and we're not gonna be able to do it."
Yeah.
And so I feel like this show was them going, this is for y'all.
Thank you. Context, because this needed context. This show is off the fucking chain, dude.
Unbelievable. Read the set list. My jaw dropped as I was reading it and listening to this clip.
Artifact, By the Morning Sun, Arigato, Grow, Mischief, Something, 12, Peoples. That's the first set. Set 2, Glowgly, We'll Meet in Our Dreams into Tappin'. I took a listen to that. That is wicked shit right there. B Pulse, Baraka, Luma Daylight, Breathe In, Roy G. Biv Encore.
Whoa, Baraka, Luma Daylight, Roy G.
Breathe
Biv, and breathe in. That it's like relentless.
And that is a really good Baraka too. This is up there with one of the best of 05, which is saying something for sure. So that context makes so much sense. But obviously,
they delivered.
Yeah, we take a break after the show, and one of the reasons we want to connect now as well is you're coming off your resurgence into seeing the band in 2026 form, right? 21 years later. I'm not going to cue it up at all. Just like, what are your takeaways? So you did Knoxville and Birmingham?
No, I just did Knoxville.
Just Knoxville.
I could only get away for that one night.
Got it.
And
thoughts?
Well, first off, the community that's built up around this band now is it is so beautiful. Definitely reminiscing, the whole crew that I kind of was circling with weren't there, so I felt kind of like a newbie.
Melty, right?
Well, we just through online, just through social media, and
Brooke Montjoy, who was on I guess last week, she messaged us and said that she met you, and she said that you were the sweetest guy.
Well, everybody that I met were just incredible human beings, and all the different stories of how they found Sound Tribe and what it's done for them. That's the connecting point. That's what connects me to them and connects them to my old homies that I used to go see shows with. So that was like the first thing I really loved, was feeling all of this energy around the band that just reminded me of those early years. But like, I felt so lucky that I got to see them in a 300 person venue. Like, that blew my fucking mind, getting to be in a smaller space again, because I hadn't had that since 2000, 2001. So that was really, really fucking special for me. And then it was my first Alana experience live. Obviously, I was weeping when I heard the first notes of New Dawn, New Day, or her first show. Like, I was there. I wasn't at the show. I was listening to the release. I think they posted a video or something. I can't remember what it was.
It was Amy Bott. Amy Bott streamed it from a cell phone. I'll never forget, because I moved to Denver a few months later, and I met her, and I was like, actually, my wife, girlfriend at the time, ended up working with her. They did some like campaign stuff for a candidate in Colorado.
Wow.
And she was like, yeah, she said that she's like that she helped stream, and I was like, wait a minute, like, not Amy, like that girl. And she's a good friend she's a good friend now, and I've told her many times how grateful I am to her for that.
Right. For me, it was interesting because, it'd been, like, at that point, was it 2013?
Yep.
It was 2014, right?
2014.
2014. Okay.
March 2014.
So that's 9 years since I last had seen them.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was living in Athens, I hung out with Murph, like we were friends. I remember we sat in downtown Athens, had a coffee together once, and just shot the shit. And I had a really good relationship with him. And so I didn't really know what was going on when that whole completion happened. I felt like it was like a famous person that I had followed along with my whole life had passed away. It like when it
Sure.
felt like this was ending. You know, it's what it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, did this just happen? Like, and so when Alana shows up, because I had known of her through her group with her husband,
Mm-hmm.
and
Somebody.
yeah, and love that music. I think that's just so incredible. It reminds me of like Autechre and like Fortet and stuff like that. Just like the kind of glitch groove stuff. Square Pusher reminded me a lot of that world. Prefuse 73, which I think they're all homies with. I think he's based out of Atlanta.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm watching this video, the cell phone live stream, and when they come on and start playing, it felt like home again, but it felt like the possibility, like that there was a large future ahead of them. Like
Mhm.
Yes.
and no shade to Murph, because we all know the role that he played in the band, but fuck, this felt like on a whole other level. And I got to experience that live finally, and she is like cosmic glue. She it's like the other four members can go off in whatever fucking direction they want to, and she's like,
Yeah.
and like connects, like just makes it all work. Like,
Yeah.
and then just like, barely lifting a finger is like pulling off licks that
Yeah.
any untrained ear wouldn't hear. But anybody who's
Mhm.
paying attention, holy shit, y'all! You need to be like, as a musician, it's a positive and a negative when you do this. You start to be able to separate the instruments. You
Mhm.
start to hear songs and be able to separate all the different instrument sounds. There's a great thing about that, and there's also a negative thing about that, because then you go see shows and then you can't like turn it off sometimes. But in these instances, when you've got players like Alana uh, doing these fills like that are out of this world and so classy and tasteful.
Mm.
Like a lot of people who showcase their art form musically tend to go for a little too long, if you know what I'm saying. And sometimes they
Hot dog it a little bit, yeah.
right. And I get it. I get it. There's a sexual thing going on in music. It is very much a foreplay into sex thing, and we're going through this sexual experience, and so it can feel like Spice like fucking you really hard when they're soloing constantly. It's
Yeah.
like when you're like, I'm done, I'm really done, you can
Yeah.
stop now, but they don't. It's kind
Yeah.
of that vibe. But the way she plays is just like making love. It just feels so sweet and pure and connect, like, but dude, there was moments where they were playing and I just felt her like she would like pull them in and bring this guy down, and like it's like I everything that I heard through digital recordings finally got confirmed live, that she has resuscitated this and taken this to a whole other level. And it's just it's such a beautiful thing to witness, because their music has changed my life. It made me a better person. Who the
Mm.
band is and the message through their music helped direct my life on a path of service and kindness and compassion, and opening to the mysteries of the universe, and seeing beyond. It's like the pale blue dot, Carl Sagan. And so I just have so many kudos to Alana for rebirthing, being a part of this rebirth, and now they're what, 13 years in. It's like this is a whole thing. This
Yeah.
I really I just I'm so excited to be going to see them in the caverns, and I just uh, got invited to go to Lexington, so I think I'm going to do Lexington too. And
Nice.
yeah, I am not going to wait 21 more years ever again. I'm gonna make a pact. I've made a pact to myself after I got out of my marriage that I was gonna see Fish at least 3 times a year. And then I started following Goose around. I was like, okay, now I have to add Goose to that. And then I started following Billy around because of Saxton.
Yep.
Um, like I'd seen him in 2022, and he was great with like the big screens
Yeah.
Sure.
and all that stuff. It was fucking. I mean, he's amazing. Like I've been listening to him for a while, but that was the first time I saw him live, and it was incredible. But I wasn't ready to go into debt for the rest of my life following him around
Right.
until Saxton brought his lights to
Yeah.
the show, and it is incredible.
Yeah.
Uh,
Saxon with the budget is something else.
and he's just getting started, y'all. It's so
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But but now I I went back, and it's like I remember driving home that night going, why the fuck have I not seen these guys before tonight? Like,
Hmm.
has it
Yeah.
been this long? And it's just been like just missing. I was like either somewhere, and they were like some, like I don't know. It just was one of those things, and I finally am committing. So I'm gonna go see at minimum 3 shows a year. But if anything, like Fish, I've seen them at the Sphere. I just did the 8 nights or 7 nights, or no, 5 nights with the 3 nights at Deer Creek, 2 nights at Savannah, and then I'm going to do the Three Dicks. So that's 3, 6, 9, 11. And I said only 3 shows a year. So you see where I'm going with this.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. Yeah.
My credit cards are going to be in pain. This is what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say, because I'm going to be going to see Sound Tribe now an equal amount of times. So
Yeah.
um,
Well, hey, welcome back. Good to have you back. And I mean, it's working out. They're making it easier for you guys, and you're part of the country this year. They're really giving you the
for
treatment, which is
real,
awesome.
we're
And
very,
I
very, very lucky.
can't wait for
Very,
you to
very
see the
lucky.
caverns too, because that is going to be one of those places, just like you talk about Deerfield. I think you're going to talk
Yeah.
about that place in the same kind of breath.
And
But
are you guys going to be there?
ooh, we have
Uh,
very close
Come
friends.
on.
Very close
Oh,
friends. We're standing up in a friend's
oh,
wedding
that's
day.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's that weekend. We've got a very we are both standing up like in a friend's wedding that weekend.
Yeah.
So we're
that's
taking a
awesome.
lot of Sound Tribe people out of that weekend for a good cause.
Yeah.
Worthwhile, without
Yep.
question. That's
Yes.
wonderful, y'all. I love to hear that.
Oh
Mhm.
no,
Um,
yes. We wouldn't be
well,
anywhere
please, I would
else.
love to rally, and this is a call not only to you two, but uh, to anybody out there who's needing a show partner and wants to go see Sound Tribe. Holler at your
Mm,
boy, because
love it.
I am down. I would love to roll on a mini tour and follow them around for a few shows with one of y'all, or crew of y'all. It'd be so much fun. And Yeah, I'm just so grateful that they're still playing, and they're playing at such a high level. There's just this new music, this new album.
Hmm.
I love it. I love it. It feels old and new at the same
Yeah.
time. It's
Yeah.
so
Yes.
wild.
That's what we talk about, is how well it works with the old material.
Yeah, it's
So
so
yeah.
connective. Um,
Um,
eh, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, man. So before we kind of roll out, I did want to give you a little bit of a platform to not why you're here today, but kind of I guess the catalyst that brought you on this week. We had been talking about bringing you on as kind of a boots on the ground episode for the first
right.
show back. That felt like a bit of disservice to the artist side of you. And then you got on and you shared a little bit about no, but we wanted to listen, and we got that concert out of this, so that's a
Yeah.
much better setup. But the thing that made me reach out to you last week was the post that you made on Instagram about being caretaker for your mom. And we love to talk about music here and nerd out, but like real life happens, and the reason you hadn't seen this band in 21 years, I mean, this was a huge contributing factor to it too. So
Yeah.
you've been the full-time caretaker for your mom. What went into that decision, and how has your life kind of changed since then?
Well, when I completed my marriage in 2021, I left and went on a tour. I went and saw Fish at the Gorge and Dick's and did my own shows, kind of scattered around all of that, and came across the country. I always tried to end my tours back in Tennessee when I was living in Oregon, so I could visit with my mom and hang out with her. My dad passed in 2008. And when he died, I didn't get to his bedside in time to be there with him. But we used to eat Bojangles together before
Oh
high school.
yeah.
He coached at Dobbins Bennett High School in Kingsport, Tennessee, and he would drive me to school. And before he would stop in Bojangles, we'd get the special of the day, and then
Cajun filet
eat that.
biscuit. My wife
Right?
knows it well. She loves that
Yeah,
shit. I
that's
do
right.
too, but that's like my wife's
I had
jam.
Bojangles this morning at the Charlotte airport. Look at
Nice, dude. That's
that.
awesome. See, these are synchronicities. That's the whole idea. That's honestly, if you were to take away anything about the Dream Spell calendar, the sidebar, that is it. It's
Yeah.
deepening your awareness of synchronicities.
Mhm.
That's really and the power of what they mean and why they're there is to like kind of help guide. It's like when people say, "Oh, I saw 11/11," or "I saw my birthday on
Sure.
the clock," or stuff like that. Anyway, so my dad and I would have these Bojangles biscuits. So I went after I'd flown in from San Fran, got there. They'd already taken my dad to the funeral home. I went to the Bojangles, got some biscuits, and went to the funeral home and put his biscuit on the casket and had my biscuit. And we sat there and chatted with each other. I
Hmm.
later learned that people with like near death and dying experiences where they came back to life, they could hear and see people like after they passed. So I kind of followed that and spoke to him and said, "Hey, I've got it. I've got mom. Like, if she ever has to go through anything, I've got her." And
Hmm.
I'd kind of forgotten about that. And then I was back home after my tour, fall of 21. That was when the COVID Delta wave hit, and
Okay.
my mom got COVID. And then she gave it to me because she would not wear a mask or anything. And I got sick. But soon after that, she had her first stroke. And, I was just coming out of this marriage. I didn't have really anything holding me to Ashland. And my sister is up in upstate Virginia and in Nova, and then my brother's in LA. And I said, "Listen, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere." So at that point, my music career in 2018 and 2019 had gotten to the point to where I was making a profit. I was covering my rent, bills, food. Things were starting to click. I'd gotten a team of people. We had booked a 100-date tour in 2020. We had a box truck. We had a stage built. We had lights. We had a sound engineer. Um, and then we know what happened. And
Yeah, the
so I had
global
to
pandemic.
cancel. Yeah, I had to cancel all the dates. Went and did the live streaming during the pandemic, but I lost all that momentum, and so it's been really hard rebuilding that. But ever since I've come home, I've been able to do a couple of tours, like 14 to 20 date tours per year, so about 40 to 50 shows a year. But then at the end of last summer, I came home from my summer tour, and when I got home, I saw my mom and I went, "I don't really think I should be booking any more shows. Like
Mhm.
she's declining. Her dementia is really setting in. So at this point, she had had two strokes and had dementia kind of building for about a year. But it was starting to get bad, and starting to forget people's names, and she just trusts me implicitly, like I've become her person, and she knows that I've got her. And so I had to pull back from touring, and then I started recording again. And the song that I played for you guys, the first song, "Receive," that I finally got that recorded. It's been since 2009 since that song came through. I finally recorded it. Was like going to release it, and then my mom had her third and fourth strokes and lost all movement in her left leg. Couldn't use her left arm. Her left eye has gone blind. And then her right eye has been diminished, so she became bedridden. So I had to learn how to be a CNA pretty much in over 24 hours and be able to, change her and clean her and do all the bathroom stuff from the bed. And so we have hospice there now, and I'm at a festival now. I'm at the Ohm Festival in southern Vermont, with Liquid Bloom and Sierra Marin and Ghost Pipe, a whole crew of people here. I helped do the talent coordination for this, but once the third and fourth stroke hit, I had to pull back completely from all festival work, and I didn't even know I was going to be able to make it. I wasn't sure. The situation with my mom's been declining so rapidly. I wasn't really sure what shows that were booked previously were still able to be done. So far, I've been able to hit 2 of the 3, and the next one coming up is Asheville, North Carolina, on August 22nd at the Jewish Community Center. I'm doing an ecstatic dance, which I don't think we've gotten into, and I don't know if you all know about ecstatic dance or not, but that's a whole other conversation. And I feel like we're in the wrap-up section, so we'll leave it there. You guys can do your own research.
Right.
But it's basically, a dance wave, usually run by DJs. So I'm an anomaly in that sense because I'm a live music. Some people call me a mouth DJ, because I do it
A
all from my
mouth
mouth.
DJ.
Yeah, but but yeah, so it is completely caused all things to just stop. So and then that was my primary income. And I also do like digital strategy stuff, like web, social media, but like I'm done with my mom and I'm just exhausted. Like I've
Yeah.
had zero rehearsal or practice time for when I did the recording with you, I'd like messed up some stuff. You said I could start over, but I was like, live musicians, you have to live with what happens, and it's all good. Trey said, if I ever make a mistake, I just make up for it with the next note. So
There you go.
you just lean in and give it even more. But yeah, it's been really tough. I mean, I'm grateful to be doing this. I know not everyone has the opportunity or blessing or relationship with their parents to
Sure.
get this kind of opportunity. It is absolutely beautiful. It's the greatest gift of my life, and it's insanely hard, and I'm in a lot of debt. So
Yeah.
my friends were like, dude, what can we do? And I was like, I don't know. And they sent me an email the next day with a GoFundMe. Um, and it's been incredible so far. I've had, I think a couple thousand that's come in, and it's really made it possible for me to stay focused on my mom, and really serve her in this last few days, we don't even know when,
Yeah.
but this last chapter of her life, I'm able to just be there for her and help her cross the threshold, which just, I mean, if any of y'all have the opportunity to do it, it's the
Yeah.
hardest thing you'll ever do, but you will be so grateful for it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, let's use the power of this network and this community for good. And take head to that GoFundMe, folks. We'll make sure we include the link in the description and on our socials and everything like that.
Thanks, guys.
To support you as much as possible on this journey, man. But I mean, we can't be grateful enough for not just the stories you shared here today, man. This has been awesome, and you provided so much context into a period of the band where me and Scotty just don't have, and we wonder about a lot of
Oh
things,
my
and
gosh.
conversations with people like you are just just make it that much more validating that this thing that we're pouring so much energy and effort to is real, right?
Hey,
Can I?
actually, Nate, I have one more.
Yeah.
I have one more that got sent to us while we were recording. Um, I reached out to Audio Angel, and
Oh,
I was like, hey, we have we're doing Cornflower as an interview tonight, and if you have anything cool you would like for us to ask him, then go ahead and shoot it to me, and I'll just read exactly what she sent to me. She said. Hey, I've almost did in her voice. I'm not going to do that. But hey, I hope it's not too late. All good if it is. I can ask him myself, I suppose. But since he shared so publicly about his mental health, about his mental health issues, I'm wondering how that is impacting how he is making music now. And as he's learned to continue to take the best care of himself, is it making an impact on his music? If so, what is that?
I love you, Angel. Oh my
She's the
God,
best. She's
so
the
great.
best.
So yeah, I was on another podcast. There's another podcast by a couple of brothers that were born with cystic fibrosis, and they formed the band Indubious. And I don't know if you all have heard of them, but you got to check them
Mm,
out. They're no longer
okay.
touring. Uh, one of the members, Evan Burton, aka Heaven Zest, is doing his solo career as Heaven Zest. You should check him out. It's all improvised, like reggae electronica. It's incredible. And
Oh yeah.
anyway, they have this podcast called Living Indubiously. And so Evan had me on. We've been friends since 2009. And we were talking, and I don't remember what triggered it for it to come up, but I've struggled with suicidal ideation. I've struggled with my mental health. Um, and he was blown away because he's known me for that long and was like, I never would have known that you struggled with that. And um, so, I've been, therapy has been the greatest gift to me. I'm very lucky to have very loving siblings, an incredible family, and a massive, awesome friend network who have buoyed me through all of it. And yes, it has made a big difference in my music. And I think more specifically, the way that it has served the music is that I know very clearly that every breath is a gift,
Mm,
and that every moment I'm blessed with is the greatest present. And so I don't take that lightly. And so when I am provided with an opportunity to share on a podcast, on a stage, to whatever number of people, whether it's one or 1,000, um, this moment, we've all been born into these worlds and these lives and gone through trauma and heartache and joys and pains and ups and downs, and somehow all collected into this one room, and we're sharing this evening together of music. And that I get that opportunity, that someone has come to receive this thing that happens through me, isn't lost on me. And so, and to
mm.
know that somebody, if not a lot of people like me, are struggling in the world today with everything that's going on, and maybe don't know or don't have the tools. And maybe something I say or sing or share helps them know that, life is worth living, and there's help available, and there's people out there who will listen. And yeah, so it has absolutely, I would say, more than anything, changed the vibrational underpinnings of every sound I make, because
Mm.
it's in every cell of my body. So
Wow.
we got to get Nate to bed, y'all. This guy needs some sleep. He's like, I love you,
Man,
Cornflower, but dude, you can talk.
no, this is incredible stuff. leaving on that note, literally.
Yeah, I'm so glad I got that question then.
Well, can I just say one last thing, just
Yeah.
to wrap a bow? You two are fucking awesome. What you're doing with this podcast is incredible.
Oh.
I absolutely love it. And like I was telling you, Scotty, it's helped reconnect me with the energy that I loved and had lost connection to. And so thank you both for, because you're not sponsored by anybody. You guys are just doing this. You love it.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
and it's felt. I feel that, and I'm sure everybody else does. And please keep it up, and know that you have an ally in me, and anything I can do to support you guys, don't ever hesitate. Okay,
Thank
you're
you,
doing
sir.
good work.
Thank you so
Man.
much, man. This was fun.
We're not just making content; we're making friends. Look at that. But
Connection.
I cannot wait to get to a show with you, man. It's so awesome to have you back, and it's so awesome for us to get basically a private look as to what you're up to artistically as well, and what that means for you and everything like that too. So
Thank you.
Grateful beyond, man, for the time that's shared over the course of 2 different nights, right? So that's huge.
It's a 2-night run.
Right? Yeah, but
Rush was
but again,
playing between the both nights, so
exactly. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for all you've shared, both musically and with anecdotally and everything like that. Thank you everybody for watching and listening, whether you're watching on YouTube, listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Throw us a subscribe, throw us a like, throw us a comment or review if you're feeling nice. But yeah, until then, we'll see you guys next week. We've got a Pacific Northwest run to prepare for here. SDS and me back at it. Have a great weekend. Chest pats.
love, 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 love.